The 5 elders were running around frantically, while the 4 emperors had already started laughing. When Luffy had a bounty of 30 million in East Blue, the 5 elders dismissed him as an insignificant little fry who couldn't stir up any trouble. When Luffy's bounty reached 100 million after Alabasta, the 5 elders still weren't worried, thinking that if he had such a hard time defeating Crocodile, then he was no real threat. After all, they had 7 warlords on their side. When Luffy's bounty hit 300 million after Enies Lobby, the 5 elders were in disbelief. Those 7 I mentioned weren't these 7 useless ones, were they? What a waste, they grumbled. They decided to put their faith in Akiji for the next move. After the war at Marineford, Luffy's bounty rose to 400 million, and the 5 elders remarked, "It's growing slower now, isn't it? After 300 million, it's tough to increase further. He'll feel the pain of hitting a level cap." When Luffy reached 500 million, the 5 elders were starting to lose their composure. "Isn't the room air-conditioned?" they wondered, sweating profusely as if seeing the progress bar for Luffy's Nika awakening right before their eyes. They scolded Doflamingo for teaching Luffy how to awaken his fruit powers. "You'll spend the rest of your days in Impel Down, reading fake news," they warned. When Luffy's bounty jumped to 1.5 billion after the Whole Cake Island arc, the 5 elders were completely rattled. "Isn't it supposed to get harder to level up the higher you go? Why is his bounty doubling now?" they exclaimed, suspecting even Mariowa was spreading fake news. Looking back, they realized that making Luffy think his bounty had decreased had such a significant impact. Why bother fighting Luffy? Just zero out his bounty, and the problem is solved, they mused. When Luffy hit 3 billion, the 5 elders had no choice but to intervene personally. Just a moment ago, he was in sandals, and now he's geared up to the max. "We haven't won a single game. Please, Straw Hat, leave us at least 1 tower so we can use our 5 teleports to get back and defend," they pleaded. Watching the 5 elders sweating and scrambling, Akainu laughed. "I used to think you guys were too old to move quickly, but it turns out you can get to the battlefield faster than me. Why didn't you use your 5 teleports sooner?" The 5 elders were either discussing Luffy in the office or making phone calls. At 100 million, they called Smoker. At 300 million, they called Kuma. At 3 billion, they were still calling Marine headquarters. The Marines couldn't believe it. "Do you think international calls are free? Do you know how expensive our phone bills are? I traveled to Mariewa to talk to you in person to save on costs, and your phone bills are higher than the shipping fees for capturing Luffy." Damn. Speaking of face-to-face meetings, the 5 elders once said, "What's my face worth?" Now, people say, when the 5 elders move as a group, it shows how much face they have. Starting the game with 5 teleports seemed like they were planning a quick and easy game. Now, seeing the situation turn against them, the elders recall how Lucci used to flaunt his position to Akainu, demanding warships with additional fuel costs. Being a CP9 officer was more prestigious than being a fleet admiral, they mocked. From killing the Emperor's right-hand man to killing the Emperor's pet, and now even scrubbing the Emperor's toilet. Is this what counts as prestige? However, the Marines aren't heartless. Let's just laugh this off. Knowing you're heading to Egghead Island to deal with Straw Hat, we'll send Admiral Kazuru, our best lifeguard, to join you. He's perfect for critical battles and can save you in dire situations. "Do you know why I stopped talking at the end of the Marineford War?" Kainu asked. "Because the lifeguard wasn't saving others, he was saving his nephew. But now, the 5 old geezers finally get to face off against Straw Hat Luffy. Beg him to spare your lives," Akainu advised. "You may not have done much good, but you've certainly worked hard. After all, you've been there from the beginning, raising the future Pirate King."